December 2025. The sky over the Anatolian steppe is a cold, indifferent blue. A sleek windowless shape cuts through the thin air at 30,000 feet. It carries no pilot, no life support, and no hesitation. In a fraction of a second, faster than a human heart can beat, an onboard processor calculates distance, wind shear, and target trajectory. A missile ignites. A moment later, an aerial target miles away becomes a falling shroud of debris. The drone, a Turkish-made Bayraktar Kızıl Elma, turns back toward base, its mission accomplished without a single drop of human sweat. This is not a simulation. This is the new silence of the front line. For decades, the cockpit was the altar of military aviation, the place where the right stuff met the machine. But that altar is being dismantled. Turkey has just demonstrated what many Western analysts dismissed as a distant dream, an autonomous machine making split-second lethal combat decisions. Across the globe, the race has shifted from who can build the fastest jet to who can build the smartest ghost. The United States, long the gatekeeper of the skies, has watched this evolution with a mixture of urgency and strategic calculation. Last year, the first wave of American collaborative combat aircraft took flight. These are not the slow buzzing reapers of the war on terror. These are jet-powered predators designed to fly alongside the F-35, carrying the same devastating payload for a third of the cost. In the vast sun-bleached ranges of Australia, the MQ-28 Ghost Bat has already begun firing live weapons in coordination with manned fighters, blurring the line between tool and teammate. We are witnessing more than a technological upgrade. We are seeing a fundamental shift in the philosophy of war. The era of the manned fighter jet, a century-long reign defined by the courage of pilots, is eroding faster than the procurement cycles of the Pentagon can track. This is the dawn of affordable mass, a world where the loss of an aircraft is a line item on a spreadsheet rather than a flag-draped coffin. The shift is perhaps most visible in the naming conventions of the Pentagon. In a quiet but historic move, the United States Air Force recently designated its newest unmanned system as fighters, not drones. The letter F in their designation is a heavy piece of symbolism. It signals that these machines are no longer just the eyes in the sky, they are the sword in the hand. They are meant to kill, to dominate, and to survive environments where a human body would simply fail under the G-force or the radiation of electronic warfare. But America is no longer the sole architect of this revolution. From the dry testing grounds of Woomera to the industrial hubs of Istanbul, the monopoly on high-end air power is fracturing. The drones being tested today are reaching milestones in months that used to take decades. These are machines born of necessity and high-speed iteration. To understand where the world is heading, by 2031 must look at the 5 platforms currently rewriting the rules of engagement. Consider the Kratos XQ-58 A Valkyrie. It sits at number 5 on our list, but its impact is arguably the most disruptive. The Valkyrie is America's budget fighter killer. A response to a grim mathematical reality, an F-35 costs over $100 million. In a high-intensity conflict, a nation cannot afford to lose many of them. The Valkyrie, however, costs between $2 and $4 million. The logic is brutal and effective. For the price of a single-manned stealth fighter, a commander can launch a swarm of 50 Valkyries. This is not just a fleet, it is a tactical tidal wave. If the enemy shoots down 10, 20 or even 40 of them, the mission can still succeed. The pilot in the F-35 stays safe miles away from the kill web, directing his robotic subordinates into the mouth of the storm. The Valkyrie first tasted the air in March 2019. Since then, it has evolved from a laboratory experiment into a versatile weapon for the Air Force and the Marine Corps. The Marines in particular see a unique salvation in this drone. In a potential conflict in the Pacific where traditional runways would be the first targets of enemy long-range missiles, the Valkyrie offers a way out. It doesn't need a runway. It launches from a rail system using a rocket booster like a missile and returns to Earth via parachute. The silence of a hidden launch site tucked away on a remote island is where the next war might be won. Kratos has recently unveiled a version with retractable landing gear, allowing it to operate like a traditional jet when runways are available, but its core strength remains its expendability. The MQ-58 B variant, currently under development, focuses on electronic warfare, blinding enemy sensors so that the manned jets can slip through the cracks. It is a sacrificial lamb with teeth. The real innovation of the Valkyrie, however, isn't found in its carbon fiber wings or its internal weapons bay. It is found in the factory. By using commercial manufacturing techniques and a modular design, Kratos believes it can produce hundreds of these aircraft per year. Traditional fighter production is a slow, artisanal process, often yielding fewer than 50 jets annually. The Valkyrie is the Ford Model T of the drone world, built for the masses, built for the grind of a long war. The world has taken notice. Germany, a nation traditionally cautious in its military procurement, has recently partnered with Kratos to develop a version for the Luftwaffe. They see the same writing on the wall: the sky is becoming too dangerous for humans alone. By 2026, the US Marine Corps will begin fielding these systems operationally. The transition from test program to warfighting tool is complete. But as America masters the art of the affordable swarm, another nation has mastered the art of the stealthy surprise. Most Western observers underestimated Turkey's aerospace sector until the Anka-3 appeared on the runway. It is a flying wing, a shape that evokes the ghostly silhouette of the B-2 bomber, but scaled down to the size of a Predator. The Anka-3 is a masterpiece of low observable design. It has no tail, no vertical stabilizers, nothing for a radar pulse to bounce off of easily. It is designed to vanish. Its first flight in late 2023 was a quiet affair, but by January 2025, it was dropping precision-guided munitions from its internal base. In the span of a year, Turkey achieved a level of integration that usually takes 15. The philosophy behind the Anka-3 is deep strike capability. It is designed to stay airborne for 10 hours, loitering over enemy territory, waiting for the precise moment to strike. Turkey is even developing a twin-engine supersonic version. A stealth drone that can supercruise, maintaining supersonic speeds without using fuel-guzzling afterburners, was once a capability reserved for the elite F-22 Raptor. Now it is being built in Ankara. In June 2025, Turkey demonstrated the Loyal Wingman concept in its most advanced form. Their new 5th-generation manned fighter, the Khan, acted as a mothership directing multiple Anka-3 drones through a secure indigenous data link. The pilot becomes more than a flyer. He becomes a conductor of a lethal orchestra. He can send his drones ahead to jam enemy radar, to strike hardened bunkers, or to act as decoys, all while he remains invisible and out of reach. The Turkish drone industry didn't happen by accident. It was forged in the fires of actual combat in Azerbaijan and Ukraine. The lessons learned from the TB2, the drone that became a household name, have been distilled into the Anka-3. They have moved from cheap and effective to advanced and unstoppable. Turkey has proven that you don't need a century of aviation history to dominate the future. You only need the will to innovate faster than the enemy. While Turkey's flying wing represents the pinnacle of regional ambition, the third name on our list carries the weight of a century-old alliance and a breakthrough that effectively ended the debate over drone lethality. This is the Boeing MQ-28 Ghostbat, a product of Australian ingenuity and American partnership. For years, critics argued that drones were fine for dropping bombs on stationary targets, but they would never survive the high-speed, chaotic environment of air-to-air combat. On December 8, 2025, the Ghostbat silenced those critics. In a test range over the Australian outback, an MQ-28 autonomously identified, tracked and destroyed a target drone using an AIM-120 air-to-air missile. This wasn't just a kill. It was a symphony of modern warfare. The Ghostbat didn't act alone. It was part of a kill web that included an E-7 Wedge-tail command aircraft and an F/A-18F Super Hornet. The Wedge-tail's massive radar painted the target, the Super Hornet pilot authorized the engagement, and the Ghostbat, the expendable forward edge of the spear, delivered the final blow. It was the world's first operational demonstration of a drone-to-missile air kill. The Australian government didn't wait for a debrief. Within 24 hours, they committed $1.4 billion to expand the fleet. They aren't just buying toys for the shelf, they are building a standing robotic air force. The Ghostbat is roughly the size of an F-16 and possesses a combat range of over 2,000 nautical miles. For a nation like Australia, which must protect vast stretches of the Pacific and Indian Oceans, this range is life or death. What truly separates the Ghostbat from its peers is its modular nose. The entire forward section of the aircraft can be unbolted and swapped out in the field. One morning, a Ghostbat might carry a nose filled with high-powered infrared sensors for scouting. By the afternoon, that same airframe could be fitted with an electronic attack package to jam enemy communications or a massive radar to act as an early warning picket. This flexibility is matched by its portability. In June 2025, A single C-17 transport plane landed at a remote austere base in Australia's Northern Territory. Inside was a ghost bat. In just 7 days, a small team had assembled the aircraft, tested its systems, and launched it on a combat mission. In a real war with a peer adversary like China, the ability to disperse your air power to tiny hidden islands and get them into the air in a week is a strategic nightmare for the enemy. The Royal Australian Air Force has spent 2025 validating the 4 horsemen of the kill chain: find, fix, track and target. The Ghost Bat has proven it can do all 4 autonomously. It can sense a threat, confirm its position, maintain a lock, even as the enemy maneuvers desperately, and designate it for destruction. The US Navy, watching these tests with intense interest, is already looking at a carrier-capable version with a tail hook. By 2030, the decks of American and Australian carriers may be populated by more ghosts than humans. But if Australia built the most balanced system, Turkey returned to the spotlight just weeks ago to claim the title of the most aggressive. At number 2 is the Bayraktar Kızıl Elma, the Red Apple. If the Anka 3 is the silent assassin, the Kızıl Elma is the frontline gladiator. It is designed with a Canard Delta wing configuration, a shape built for agility and high angle of attack maneuvers, the kind of things usually reserved for the F-22 or the Chinese J-20. On November 30th, 2025, the Kızıl Elma achieved what many thought was years away, a successful beyond visual range BVR engagement. In the world of fighter pilots, BVR is the gold standard. It requires a machine to detect an enemy hundreds of miles away, calculate a lead pursuit intercept, and guide a radar homing missile through a maze of electronic countermeasures. The Kızıl Elma did this autonomously. It didn't just fire a weapon, it fought. 2 weeks later, Turkey doubled down. On December 17, 2 Kızıl Elmas took off and flew a high-speed close formation mission with 0 human input. They communicated with each other, maintaining precise spacing through aggressive maneuvers. This is the foundation of the swarm. Imagine a dozen Kızıl Elmas, all sharing data, all moving as a single multi-headed organism. How does a single human pilot, even in the best jet in the world, defend against 12 attackers that move with the hive mind speed of a computer processor? The Kızıl Elma is also Turkey's ticket to sea power. It is designed with reinforced landing gear to handle the brutal short landings required on a carrier deck. Turkey's new light carrier, the TCG, Anadolu, was originally intended for the F-35B. When that deal fell through, Turkey pivoted. Instead of a carrier with a few manned jets, they are building a carrier with dozens of Kızıl Elmas. It is a paradigm shift, a power projection platform where the pilots stay home in Istanbul while the fighters strike targets 1,000 miles away. The machine is equipped with an ISA radar, the most advanced type of sensor available, and an infrared search and track system. By 2026, mass production will be in full swing. Turkey currently controls 65% of the global UAV market, and the Kızıl Elma is their flagship. They have taken the lessons of the cheap, slow drones used in Ukraine and applied them to a supersonic AI-driven monster. Yet even as Turkey and Australia leapfrog traditional powers, the ultimate evolution of air combat is being decided in a high-stakes competition within the United States. It is a battle between 2 titans for the soul of the Air Force. This isn't just about a better drone, it's about the first machines officially welcomed into the fighter brotherhood. At the summit of this revolution, holding the #1 spot are 2 competing visions for the future of American hegemony, the General Atomics YFQ-42A and the Anduril YFQ-44A Fury. The Air Force's decision to grant these platforms the F designation, placing them in the same lineage as the F-15 Eagle and the F-22 Raptor, was the final death knell for the drone era. These are collaborative combat aircraft CCA. They are designed to be the loyal shadow of every American pilot, an extension of the commander's will that carries its own lethal intuition. The stakes could not be higher. The Air Force is moving with a speed-to-field mentality that borders on desperation. They plan to make a final production decision by late 2026, with an initial order of up to 150 aircraft. But that is just the beginning. The ultimate goal is a fleet of over 1,000 CCAs. This is the affordable mass strategy in its purest form, flooding the sky with intelligent, high-performance machines that cost a fraction of a manned jet, forcing an adversary to waste million-dollar missiles on $30 million targets. General Atomics. The veteran of the group took to the skies first with the YFQ-42A in August 2025. Leveraging decades of experience from the Predator and Reaper programs, Their design is a masterclass in stealth and endurance. It features a slender, elongated fuselage with an internal weapons bay capable of carrying the AIM-120. It is a ghost designed to haunt the periphery of a battlefield, providing a protective screen for the F-35s and the upcoming 6th generation fighters. Then there is Anduril, a relative newcomer to the aerospace world. Anduril stunned the establishment by taking the YF-Q-44, a Fury, from a blank sheet of paper to its first flight on Halloween 2023, a mere 556 days. The Fury is built for the high-end fight. It is smaller than an F-16, but it is a Predator of the highest order. It can cruise at Mach 0.95, reach altitudes of 50,000 feet, and pull 9 Gs in a dogfight. The Fury represents a terrifying leap in autonomy. During its debut flight, it operated with no remote pilot. No one was flying the aircraft from a trailer in Nevada. The machine managed its own flight controls, its own throttle, and its own landing at the push of a single button. It is not just a tool, it is a digital pilot. This level of autonomy is what allows a single human pilot in an F-35 to command a swarm of 4 or 5 Furies, simultaneously directing them like a tactical squad rather than steering them like toys. By 2026, both of these platforms will enter the most dangerous phase of their development, live weapons integration. Anduril has already begun fitting the Fury with hardpoints and internal bays, preparing for tests that will see the machine hunt and kill targets on its own. The Air Force wants these drones to cost between $25 and $30 million. At that price, a commander can afford to be bold. You can send a YF-Q-44A into the heart of an enemy's integrated air defense system, a suicide mission for a human to reveal and destroy radar sites. The strategic implications ripple far beyond the cockpit. China is racing to build its own loyal wingman variant. Russia struggles with its S-70 Okhotnik, hampered by a lack of advanced microchips. Europe is splintered between several competing programs, but the United States has chosen the path of competition. By funding two radically different designs, the Pentagon is betting that the market will produce the fastest, smartest, and most lethal machine the world has ever seen. The YF-Q-42A and YF-Q-44A are not here to replace the fighter pilot, they are here to save them. They are the magazine depth the Air Force lacks. They are the shields that will take the first hit. They are the eyes that will see the enemy before the enemy even knows a war has begun. They are the realization of a century of dreams and nightmares, the machine that can fight as well as a man but without the fragility of a soul. Conclusion. As we look toward 2030, the sky is no longer a place of solitary heroes. It is becoming a crowded digital landscape. From the beyond visual range kills in Turkey to the modular ghosts of Australia and the fighter-designated robots of the United States, the transformation is absolute. The machines have arrived and they have brought a new kind of silence to the air, silence where the only sound is the hum of a processor deciding who lives and who dies. War is changing. The question is no longer who has the best pilots, but who has the best algorithms. The era of the lone ace is over. The era of the swarm has begun.